teach, but success play, there won't be one. Recordings won't be shared. You either show up or miss out. Ask questions, connect, learn what school doesn't teach. This is your chance to grow beyond the classroom. Be in the room or be left behind.
I am Engineer Peter Ogumowale, founding Prof. I currently serve as the Vice President full-time of the MBA Students Association. I can personally say this seminar is one of the most important seminar series we have. And these seminars are designed to teach you what the classroom does not. And I'm personally inviting you to join us live. If you don't want to hear about this seminar after it has happened, please be part of it. I'll be there and I hope to see you there. Thank you.
All right, it's about time. IK, you need to mute. People, you need to mute. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's highly anticipated section in our MBA Seminar Series. Let me get straight to it. Your MBA project can be the reason you graduate early or the reason you are delayed. What you're about to learn today can save you months of stress, confusion, and wasted efforts. This isn't just another seminar. It's a strategic move designed to give you exactly what you need to succeed in your final projects. No fluff, no guessing. We've invited a man who understands this process inside out, Professor Olaoluwa Oluwafemi, acting head of the Department of Business Administration, University of Lagos. It's our sixth more MBA project that we can count, and today is there to show us what works, what fails, and how to get it right from the very beginning. So I'm challenging you, please pay attention, take notes, and ask smart questions. Because after this, you don't get to say nobody told you. Special thanks to the moderators, the planning team, and everyone who made this possible. Let's make this section count. Now I want to hand over to the moderator to take us deeper into today's experience. Thank you, and let's begin.
Okay, good morning once again. We welcome everyone to this special event that is being hosted by the MBA School of the University of Lagos, the first choice university. I bring you one welcome from myself. My name is Ikechukwu Emmanuel. I'll be co-hosting today's program, and I have alongside my amazing co-host, Chinelo, who is also here. Today, we are diving into something every MBA student should master, and that is project writing at its finest. And who else could better guide us than our keynote speaker, the distinguished Professor Oluwafemi himself. In the next 90 minutes, Prof will take us through an MBA project writing masterclass session. I mean, this session is loaded with practical insights, proven strategies, and tips that will sharpen how you approach your MBA projects. Now, here's a house rule that will help us or guide us through the series. First of all, we want to encourage everyone to please mute your microphone. In case you join in and your microphone is unmuted, please mute the microphone so that we can all enjoy the space. We can all enjoy the lecture together. And if you also have questions you want to ask, the chat box is opened. You can go ahead and put in the questions there. Prof will be taking us for the next 90 minutes uninterrupted. Then after the 90 minutes, we'll have about 10 to 15 minutes for questions. We'll give opportunities for live questions just for about 5 minutes. Then we can have other questions written down. I want to say once again, thank you for attending today's program. We promise you that this program would reveal a lot of things that you need to know about project writing. Just like Engineer Peter introduced, one of the reasons why a lot of people have been left behind in school even when others would have graduated, when they would have graduated, is because many of them have not mastered the skills of project writing, and Prof is here to guide us step by step on this series. And finally, this is not just a webinar or a seminar. It is not just another seminar, but it is genuinely meant to shape your academic journey. I'm going to hand over to my co-host Chinelo, who would help us introduce Prof better as we progress. Thank you.
All right, good morning, everyone. Good morning, my fellow students. My name is Chinelo, year 1, stream 2. We are all very happy to be on this call today, and we're also excited, like Ike had mentioned, about the tips we can learn from Professor Femi. I recall that Professor Femi was one of our lecturers in first semester. If anybody in year 1, if you don't remember, but do remember, Professor Femi taught us on personality. So remember the vibrancy in which he brought into the class. We can also anticipate some of the nuggets that he'll be sharing with us today. So quickly, I just want to share my slide to introduce Professor Femi and then speak more as to what we hope to gain from today's class and today's teachings from him. Hold on while I just pull that up for everyone to see. Please let me know if you can see my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, your screen is up.
It's up.
All right, thank you, everyone. Okay, so quickly, this is just an overview of Professor Femi Olaoluwa Joseph. He is a professor of organizational behavior He's a professor of organizational behavior here in UNILAG, the Department of Business Administration. He's the current acting HOD. He's also a doctor of philosophy. He has his degree in psychology, and he has a master's of science degree and also has a BSc in industrial relationship and human resources management from the University of Lagos. Professor Femi has taken a lot of lecturers and even students like us. He has over 25 years of experience in mentoring, teaching, community engagement, and research. So it comes in vital for this period for us, especially for us. Year 1 transcending into year 2. So for me, the impact that he would bring is one of the things I'm also looking forward to. That the researcher, he's written a lot of publications, journals, so he's well versed in what it is we're engaging ourselves with today. So I want to enjoin every one of us to please pay attention, bring out your notepads and pen and see what nuggets and teachings you can get from Prof today, as we can better our knowledge and understanding of project writing. I'll just wait for Prof to come on, and then we can start the session proper. Please feel free to put in your comments in the question chat bot. We'll take a look at it in the course of our class today, and Prof will definitely look into some of them and then provide answers to them. Somewhere along the line, if you have questions to ask, if you're not able to take them immediately during the call, just take note of them and then we'll pick that up the conversation today. So thank every one of us again for joining, and then please hold for the class to start and the seminar to start. Thank you.
IK, please can you make me co-host? I left a message for you in the chat box. Can you make me go? Thank you. Ochinelo, you can do that.
Done.
We apologize, everyone. Prof is joining the meeting now, so we continue. We'll take his section, please. Thank you. Thank you for your patience.
Please, as a reminder, if you
You're muted, okay. You're muted.
And he gets in the car. He gets in the passenger seat and fastens
please,
his
just a
seatbelt.
way
I'm
of
like, what's going on?
reminder, when you join the call, kindly mute your microphone, please.
I can't do the kids.
Thank you.
So I go, kids, tell me more.
All right. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Prof. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Prof.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
We are so happy to have you join us today. And
Good morning,
we've been looking
everyone.
forward to this particular session, and we're all very excited to learn a lot of things from you. In particular, I'm excited. So the floor is yours. If you want to start sharing, or if you have any document you'd like to share, I'm stopping my own screen share now so you can take over. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. God bless you. Good morning, class. Good morning, everybody. We should try and make this meeting as two-way and as interactive as possible. Feel free to ask questions or share experiences so that we can optimize the opportunity. I want to appreciate the organizers for the initiative, particularly for picking on me. I don't know how it came. I'm also very, permit me to use the jargon, flabbergasted with the media presentation of my introduction, even though I consider it a bit too hyped. I consider it a little bit too hyped. All the same, I really appreciate your showing interest in me. I just want to counsel that we should optimize this opportunity. I don't think it comes regularly. I have been a postgraduate supervisor for close to 15 years now. Close to 15 years. And year in, year out, back to back, I've been having students allocated to me from the MBA school. I supervise students at the ULBS up to the PhD level. Right here in the department, I've supervised and I've co-supervised doctoral students, master's students, undergraduate students. Why am I saying all this? I want to share with you in the course of this interaction my practical experience with students, while also deepening your theoretical knowledge. I want to share my experience with you in supervising students. I supervise international students, somebody doing a DBA and a PhD all the way to Switzerland, and they ask the person to get a co-supervisor here because the candidate is not resident in Switzerland. He did everything here. Then he will go and meet another supervisor there, and so we will collaborate and we will share experience. And some of them were astonished that they found supervisor from Africa, from Nigeria, who could do exactly what they would do out there. So what you are getting this morning is a world-class tips on how to do your project. I know it's a very big task because what you should do in a whole semester, you are doing in you are being smart. You are doing in two lecture periods. But then let's see how it takes us. Let's see how far we can go. All right. I'm already having reaction already. Is anybody trying to talk to me there? Any question?
No, yes, sir. You can.
Oh, thank you. All right. That's just by way of introduction. Now, project writing is a big deal. And if you ask me frankly to rank some of the impediments, my number one problem and challenge is attitude. Nigerian students have attitude problems. And as an organizational behaviorist and with my PhD in psychology, attitude means a whole lot to me. If the attitude is not right, nothing can be right. Nothing can be right. So I'll talk a little bit about attitude and then we move on. An average student doesn't understand the rationale for project writing. And that's a big attitude. Even that cut across even doing assignments. I've gotten situation here when I will ask your class to give me assignments and then I will be scared to mark and grade because more than half the class copied. And I think that is why I am coming from that angle. And I don't think that this class is meant for those categories of people. And let us call a spade a spade. So once you can work on your attitude, every other thing will be right. Every other thing will be fine. The number two challenge is that sometimes we approach our teaching of research methodology from purely theoretical point of view. Even with the best of teaching of theory, some students find it very difficult to relate that to real life. And then when it now comes to research methodology, coursework is actually supposed to be a prerequisite to your project writing. Some we just read and cram and pass and then leave the rest. When it comes to project writing, they are having serious issues and phobias and nightmares and so on and so forth. If you also ask me, some of the attitude problem is not limited to students again, it's also limited to supervisors. Some supervisor believes that you are giving them a headache and that it will be too difficult to teach you. And then they just find a soft landing kind of this and that and this and that. Even those who really have the knowledge of research method. So research is a specialized area of scholarship that you cannot really thrive if you are not sound, well-grounded in research. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, we're together, Prof.
Yes, Prof.
So my admonition this morning, Ejo Biko Nagode, is to plead with all that we should have a change of attitude and believe that we can do these things and believe that the nation looks up to us to have very sound knowledge of research and research orientation so that we can move this country forward. Nothing is done anymore by mere intuition. Nothing is done by educated guess. Nothing is done by hunches, just mere guesswork. You have to be empirical. You have to be rational. You have to be accurate in determining those factors that affects our decision making. The nation needs research products for us to grow. If you ask me frankly, this is why Nigeria is retrogressing and other smaller countries of the world that are not even blessed with the resource, with the resources that we have. I will share my slide when it is time. This is my icebreaker. Allow me to do my icebreaker. There is no point if I'm sharing slide and I've not even convinced you why you are in this class, why it is very important. All right, so we need to begin to underscore the importance of research. And the third or the fourth major attitude problem that students often have is that they live in the oblivion that their project work is actually impartial fulfillment for the requirement of a degree. Nothing more, nothing less. They don't believe that graduate and undergraduate research work serve as feeders. Several times, I meet students, I psych the student up, I look at him very intelligent, and that he should be able to work on a particular topic, which I want to use as a test ground for another more serious research idea. By the time you give them, they will not be forthcoming. Your research serves as feeders to our, these days we are even so busy that we don't have enough time for research. So if you ask So in your own little way, you are contributing. I'm happy I've been able to co-publish with a good number of my students, even undergraduate. It will surprise you that I co-publish with an undergraduate, I co-publish with several MSCs, and I co-publish with my PhD student. It will shock you that if you look at the ratio of the people we get who get to do a good job to those who we just, in fact, some will blackmail you. They know who will untwist you to let them go without doing anything. So the issue is more serious than we take it. And that's where I want to start. Talking about sharing my slides. You will see slides, but you better listen to me more than the slides. All right. So let's look at one or two things. Let's look at.
Can I quickly ask a question? If
Quickly.
people want to, if people have questions for you in the course of your class, do we just wait towards the end, or you don't mind taking it in between the
No,
class?
just raise your hand from the emoji.
All right.
I will respond to it. I would also like us that we cover some good ground. We cover some good ground. I will send some of the things we will do today and tomorrow through WhatsApp. Then I will share my discussion slide, even though I'm not going to be taking all the issue in the slides. The major thing that I really want to do is to make sure you are a good convert. It's to make sure you are a good convert. This is a conversion program that you should take research serious. You know, maybe I need to clarify this. All through learning, all through your learning, you attend classes, you write exam. You attend classes, you write exam. It is when we get to project writing that we change the orientation. Now we want to see the productivity of all that you have learned. And that is the area you really messed up. An average student won't know what the project is writing. An average student will contract it. It's so sad that you even contract project to people who are less knowledgeable than you are, and they will be making a lot of money. Your hard and sweat. You don't have time. You don't have time to develop yourself. You still have time to pay to deny yourself the knowledge you need badly. Well, when I complain to some of my students why these things happen, they also complain about the attitude of some supervisor. And I said, it's a two-way traffic. If I am a student and I'm assigned to a supervisor, I can call that supervisor to be serious if he's an unserious somebody. Otherwise, I change him. But these days, students change supervisor because he's not doing their bidding, because he will not allow them to copy. Those are the kind of experiences I've had. So these are serious reflection times for us. I know I will go deep into the theory, but my discussion is more important to me than the snippets I want to give you. Those snippets are very interesting. They are easy to corroborate, to help us. The attitude, the mindset must first change before anything can come in. Now, forget that you are serving as feeders to our research and to nation building. It will also shock you that some of this knowledge, the research outcome you use, becomes very useful in the industry where you work. And you can use your research exploit to market yourself and market your career. And all of that. All right, I think enough of that so that I won't be stepping on toes. But my major message, please, is that we need serious-minded research orientation from our students. And that is just the barest minimum expectation we have of you. Of what use is your degree if it is not productive, if it cannot solve problems out there? So, and that leads me to the definition of research. I can share my slide now. What is research? Research refers to a systematic method of inquiry. Research refers to a systematic method of inquiry aimed at providing tenable and viable solutions to identified problems. A systematic process of inquiry aimed at providing tenable and viable solutions to identify problems in organizations, in the economy, in the capital market, in the consumer sector, everywhere. Identifying and solving problem is the preoccupation. So Nigerians are very good at complaining and not providing solution to problem. In fact, they give up on Nigeria so easily, whereas they are even part and parcel of the problem. All right, research method is a systematic method of inquiry aimed at providing solution to real-life problem with the aid of solving the problem. The society will be a better place to live if we find homegrown solutions to. I'm a die-hard optimist, and I can tell you that Nigerian problem has no defined solution. It is just that we won't tackle our problems headlong. Okay. And that cut across all the fabrics and facets of our social, cultural, political lives. So it is important that you show the right attitude to problems and to solve problems, and it is important that you acquire the tools for solving problem. All right. Where does the research idea comes from? 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 Please take note of that. Research idea does not emanate from inside your textbook. What you learn from inside textbook is theories, principles, method of application, and once in a while, illustration of practical previous other researchers' experiences. But the real research idea come from our observation of Problems in our society, in our organizations, in the economy. Research ideas does not come from inside textbook. It comes from our observation of the real life world. Please take note of that. Please take note of that. Is there anybody asking me a question there?
Oh, yes, sir. I was going to ask if you.
Prof, yes, I have a question.
Okay, thanks. You can ask your question.
Good morning, Prof. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm blessed to have you today. You know, you're always my model, right from my undergraduate age. I know you over 20 years ago, and you have been always amazing in your teaching. I don't know, can you hear me?
I can hear you very well, sir.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Prof, there is something that is peculiar about you, and I like and I respect and I appreciate it. You are very thorough in your knowledge sharing and detail. I happen to interact with a couple of students, why they are a bit reserved about your style of supervision in projects. And luckily enough, I also walked into you last week, and I saw those students. And they said they've been coming to you and spend hours, you know, and you really give them attention. And they'll come like 12 to 7 p.m. So to me, that could be frustrating. And that could trigger a student wanting to change his supervisor. So I don't know in what way possible supervisors can be, not only to you now, can also appreciate student time to make sure that when they come to see you at the appointed time, they are given the time they need to get the knowledge they need to help them write their research. Because like now, some of their peers have gone way ahead, like chapter 3, but they are yet to get, according to them, they are yet to get like 6 sections with you before writing. And I also want to appeal, if those students are here listening to you today, can they have this opportunity as another avenue to learn more and proceed with their project writing? Because I know you are a very wonderful person. And I thank you for all you have been to us, considering the fact that MBA is a very busy community. Most of us are executives working in different organizations and chasing business all over the globe. So I really thank you. And I want you to see how you can also help those students to fasten their process in course of doing their project work so that they can also be done in good time with their other fellow colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a good one. I'm not taking any offense. I'm so happy that you raised it. Let me say that it's just an aberration. It is not an ideal thing for a graduate student to get to me, and it will occur to me that I will not be able to make any progress with that students unless I do some remedials. That has always been the issue. It's so bad. It's not the best. But what I'm also very happy about and sure is that as soon as these students come and they see what they needed to know and how they needed to do things, they are happy, even though it's not too convenient. Nobody will tell you that, what they are getting is not the right thing. Is such I pray for that day when students will come, they are already well equipped to fly with me or to walk along with me. The things I do are not too convenient for me. I am paying at exceedingly great price to be able to get a graduate student to really measure up to what a graduate student should be. That's my reaction. My second reaction is that taking their time started a few weeks ago. Let me say from the beginning of this year, or let's say last year. I assumed the headship of the department, and my duties more than doubled, and the staffs in the unit as well as in the department are leaving. We have not been able to recruit, so my duties quadruple. I am the boss and I am the subordinate. So unless I can take my time to explain some of these things to my students, they won't understand that the time they take is not intentional. The question now is that, should I leave them to leave me ignorantly? Should I ask them to just go and write something to follow the bandwagon effect and so on and so forth? Honestly, the mature one among our students will understand, even though it's not the best of time. And I think we are all making some sacrifices to make sure things are done properly. So that was not intentional. It's just that the circumstance in which we find ourselves. It will shock you that some of the students you are talking about are in this class. And it will shock you that they were with me yesterday night till a few minutes to 9. And they saw when I left class past 7, they saw the number of students that entered the room with me. I have to start dismissing them so that I could really attend to them. I'm sharing this story to let you know that all those things are not intentional. And as soon as our situation improves, we have more staffs. Before, it used to be short, 40 minutes, 1 hour. You do that. Some will even package it to 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks of orientation, preparation, they start doing a good job. And I hope that solves that. And I would like to know if you still have any comment on that.
No, that's fantastic. Thank you, Prof. Thank you so much.
I can also encourage some of the students to speak out. And I always tell them, if you are having challenges or you have some unusual constraints, let me know. But I take exception to students who will not demonstrate a sense of responsibility, sense of good judgment, and all that. So I know nothing good comes easy. I don't want to share the experience of how I acquire my skills. I was patrolling Ibadan every week for 3 years because I didn't do my PhD in UNILAG, even though I have my first and second degree in UNILAG. Nothing good comes so easy. So I sympathize with everybody, but I know it's for a good cause, and we can all work together and get the best out of the situation. All right, I can move on. Pardon me.
Go ahead, Prof.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm trying to actually share my slide now. Let me see. All right. All right, gentlemen, I hope you can see my slide. Okay. Finding solution to problem after thorough study and analysis. Okay. You have applied research and basic research. What we are doing in MBA school is applied research. And the meaning of applied research is you do a research that will solve a small problem in an organization or in an economy, and you will have contributed your own bit. Applied research is what the approach we are using. And the knowledge should solve problems, should serve as decision-making, should help you organization to become more competitive, should help organization to avoid risk, should open up investment for businesses and all that. And of course, it also gives us knowledge that we have hands-on training as researchers in the business world. Okay. The steps in the scientific process, you have observation, identification of a problem area, identifying the theoretical framework, and then formulating of hypotheses, and then employing the appropriate research design, then the data collection stage, and then data analysis stage, data interpretation, conclusion, and then the last step, whatever we found and the solution we provide should be implemented. That is the stage where Nigeria has problems.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello, sir. The slide is not up. We are seeing the folder. So maybe you want to realign the slide to what we are seeing. It's currently showing the folder, sir.
Oh, okay.
Yes. We are currently seeing the folder. Sorry for cutting you short, sir.
Okay. Let me go back to the Zoom.
Yeah, you may have to stop sharing and then reshare from the presentation.
Okay. Can you see it now? Can you see it now?
Yes, sir. It's showing now. We can see this now.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. You can.
Okay, okay. So you have this, the whole process of scientific investigation, if you like, scientific research is 9. And all my meeting with my students is packaged around all of this. I teach you how to identify problem. I teach you how to do the theoretical part, how to formulate your hypothesis, how to use the appropriate design, then data collection, data analysis. I supervise your data collection. Sometimes I get personally involved with your analysis to see whether your research is making sense. And then you go and do the interpretation. And I said, the implementation is the only part in Nigeria where there is a shortcoming. I did my professorial interview in April, and the Vice Chancellor was very excited about the volume of my research. Then all of a sudden, she just said, how about all these fantastic research output that you are reeling out? That what have you done about them? And the Vice Chancellor was expecting that I should have taken this fantastic research output to industry and start doing something to help them, because the outcomes were very, let's say, wowing, very exciting. Then I look at myself and then look at the Vice Chancellor and laughed. that, you know, we have a problem in Nigeria that they don't really value us. They don't really value us. I'll now take a research that one of my students did and we did together and I supervised carefully and is very correct. I will now go and meet one MD that this is the problem. He will look at me like this, like a beggar and all of that. They would rather go out there and import some foreign ideas and travel with it and all that and all that. So we have problem at the lower level, we have problem at the middle level, we have problem at the national level. Unless our national policy, national orientation changes and there is awareness that Nigerians, scholars have formidable research outputs that, if implemented, we will have found a local solution to our national problems. And of course, notwithstanding, you still have to know all of this. But I know some of you out there are even more influential, that if you did a study and you find something very meaningful, you can walk into your divisional or general manager or executive director and share some of the insight. You may not even say it's an outcome of your research. You will go to a particular level before you start telling them it's an outcome and all that. All right, so we won't go into too much theoretical talking. I just want to discuss this slide with us, this particular slide. As soon as I share this slide with us, I will change the orientation. Look at the slide you have up. That is the research process. What I just discussed with us is now in a diagrammatic form. I ask, where does the research idea comes from? Your personal experience. As a good graduate of the MBA school, you must have an eagle eye to see problems in organization. And my student will bear witness. Before I give you a research topic, you just go and tell me the problem you found in your organization that you consider worthwhile, and we will build a topic around that. It is after you have done that, then you now go back to literature. So where you are seeing others' research, that is when you now go back to literature. So you will now go and research about the concept. Yesterday night, one of the ladies in my MBA project class just said, he found out that staffs are leaving their company in drones. He said about 20 in the month of June alone. And most of them traveled out and so on and so forth. So on the basis of that, we got the topic, and she's already excited. She started working around that. So research doesn't come from inside textbook. If you sit down for weeks and be reading books, a research idea may not come. So, and even if it comes, that will be a theoretical research idea. A research idea comes when you find a problem in an organization that is worth research attention. And then that will cascade to initial research idea, slide 3, and then that will cascade to you defining the problem you want to address. You remember I just defined research for you as problem solving, and then you begin the procedures by doing the research design, and then you do observation, and then you do data analysis. Observation actually means collecting your data, and then data analysis to data interpretation, and then you write your report, and then your report can be implemented in an organization and can also stimulate other research. Is that clear? I'll take a break there and see whether you can ask me one or two questions. I don't want to just rush everything over you. Please feel free to ask your questions.
Please, if you have a question for Prof, you can just take the microphone on mute quickly. And if you still want to ask questions, you could do that on the chat box. We'll read that out for Prof. Thank you.
I really appreciate it. All right, please. Your question, please. Sorry. Your question, please.
None for now, sir. You can proceed, sir.
Okay. Now let's go back to the basics. I'm now paying attention to how you can write a good project. My first topic, what I've done are preambles. My first topic now is how to identify a researchable topic. That one is not on this slide, but immediately after now, I will incorporate it into this slide so that I can send it to you. So, attributes of a researchable topic, please jot it down. Number 1, the topic must address itself to a known real-life problem. The topic must address itself to a known real-life problem through the researcher's observation, through the researcher's experience. You look for problem in a company. If you don't do that, it will be very difficult for you to write. You must be able to feel the problem. You must be able to relate with the problem. You must also be passionate about the problem. It must move you to action. It must be a problem that should move you to action. Those are the requirements for good researchers, and those are the things you should be doing now, not just pick something from nowhere or ask somebody to send some topics to you and what have you. Point number 2, the topic must indicate. The topic must indicate the relevant variables of interest to the study. The topic must indicate the relevant variables of interest to the study. From my research experience, students find it very, very difficult to handle that, and it's not difficult. Once you have a working title, all you just need to do is identify what are the key variables in this title. You write them out. You write the key variables in the title out. Let me give you an example. The relationship between organizational climate, job satisfaction, and employees' work engagement. The relationship between organizational climate, job satisfaction, and employees' work engagement. So what comes to your mind is that what are the key variables in this topic that will kickstart my research? What are the key variables? I'm just giving this as your illustration. So 1, employee work engagement. 2, job satisfaction. 3, organizational climate. Okay, so with that, you are well equipped. You must know the variables. The variables should not be too many and they should not be too few. For the purpose of clarity now, organizational climate in this particular instance is a multidimensional variable, it's a multidimensional construct. There are other small items of what constitute climate. So among that, you will be able to identify other climate dimension that is relevant to the organization. But the key variable here is work engagement. I will show you how that is later. Point number three. The topic must indicate both the dependent variables and the independent variable. The topic must indicate both the dependent variable and independent variable. Okay, so at your, part of the problem we have is that when we play around and we don't grapple with the basics during the teaching of research methodology, you don't know what a variable is, you don't know what a dependent variable is, you find it very difficult to use those things as a tool to apply to what you are doing, and you get frustrated and then you start writing rubbish. So you must know what constitutes a variable. You must know the distinction between a dependent variable and an independent variable. So those are the issues. And I also reckon maybe it has to do with the handling of those courses. Maybe. But it's largely lying with the students. All right. So you identify from all the variables I could identify from this topic, which one is the dependent variable and which one are the independent variable. That's very important. Point number 4. The variables must indicate causal relation. When I mention this, student will get confused. Don't just assemble variables and call them dependent, independent variable. You must also think about it. Is there any possible causal relationship among these variables that I'm assembling? Yoruba man will say, "Onto John laughing where I'm on." You use what is comparable to compare each other. The way I can illustrate this is this. You want to do a study and you say, I want to investigate the relationship between intelligence quotient level and the size of shoes of the individual participants. The two variables are measurable. The two are variable. Intelligence quotient is the dependent variable. The independent variable is the size of shoe. You can run analysis on these variables because they are measurable, and then you can get result. But the two variables don't have any link. There is no relationship with how your size of shoe affects your intelligence level. So when you are assembling variable, the variable that you are assembling must be causally related. That's point number 4. It must be causally related. I have seen people who just assemble variables that are remote to one another. They don't have any bearing on one another. And then they will now start making arguments. Such variables, even if you can do research on them, you won't solve any problem. That element of causal relation, having some things in common, how one affects the other, you must adjudge it to be very, very important before you can assemble those variables. And then point number 5. The variables must be capable of being operationalized. I remember in research method, we talk about operationalization. We define it. How do you do that practically? Operationalization is a key issue in research. You don't get yourself involved with variables that you cannot easily operationalize. Otherwise, you are throwing impossibility, difficulty into the research. So when you are assembling your variables, they must be variables that you can easily operationalize. And what does operationalization mean? You must be able to give that variable a definition that will allow you to identify participants in your study setting that possess the attributes. Participants in the study setting that possess those attributes. The definition that will allow you to identify participants in the study setting that possess those attributes, those characteristics. So operational definition is a working definition. It's a tool of research. If you cannot operationalize a variable, you cannot do meaningful research on them. And our students will just assemble variables that cannot be operationalized because they don't understand the principle. All right. Operational definition is different from conceptual definition. Conceptual definition, we just say like engagement. Engagement refers to an employee's ability to work this with vigor, this dedication, this and that. But if you now want to operationalize, you now start listing those things that you can see physically. And when you see those things, you know this one has it, he's engaged. This one doesn't have it, he's not engaged. So there is a difference between conceptual definition and operational definition. And point number 6. Point number 6. The variables must be measurable. The variables must be measurable. So underline operationalization and measurement. Operationalization will lead to your ability to measure. So operationalization and measurement are two key issues in research. Don't come up with variables that you cannot operationalize and that you cannot measure. And if you can operationalize, you can measure. Very simple. And what is measurement? Measurement is a systematic rule of the thumb. Systematic rule of the thumb for assigning integer numbers to the attributes of a variable or a construct. Rule of the thumb that is systematic in assigning integer numbers to the attributes of a construct or a variable. Very simple. And that measurement will make use of a scale of measure. A scale of measure is usually the Likert 5-point or Likert 6-point, and it must be used to measure all the attributes derived from the operationalization. And that is why operationalization and measurement goes hand in hand. Now, if you don't do this very well, it means your research instrument cannot be valid. It cannot give you data that is valid. And that is why you must know operationalization and measurement very well, so that you can apply that to your research and then you can collect your data. And then the seventh one, your research topic should have maximum of 1 or 2 dependent variable. Maximum of 1 or 2 dependent variable and maximum of 5 independent variables. Maximum of 5 independent variables. Maximum of 5 independent variables. I know in tomorrow's class, I will show you how to develop your variables into a conceptual framework that will show you how to formulate your hypothesis. And then that will even show you your possible statistical design, whether you are using a correlation or a regression. But for now, what is important is that point number 7 is to limit your scope. Don't take too many DVs and don't take too many IVs. That statement is to limit your scope. Take something you can handle. No researcher can solve all problems. Just pick one small idea and add something new as contribution to knowledge. So the point number 7 is to limit your scope, maximum of 1 or 2 DVs, and of course, maximum of 4 or 5 IVs, independent variables and dependent variables, respectively. All right. Point number 8. Point number 8. The topic must indicate those research participants from whom you will collect the data. The topic must indicate who the participants are. And I bet you before you start, you must meet all these requirements. Before you start, you must meet all these requirements. You cannot start asking that question when you are already at the middle of the research. It is before you start. Okay. Just a second.
I have issue. Okay. I just finished PhD now. PGD and the rest, they are all come to say informatics. When you allocate costs, you should be able to inform people.
Others. So that they feel.
Dofia is there, Lakon is there, they are calling me. How will I be able to? And I told you before that I will not be able to combine PGD.
Please tell them. You cannot kill yourself.
So what you will do is the Bakari should be able to give them or maybe present it. These are the people who are allocated.
Please, let's stay on the call. I think Prof has something to attend to, so we'll be back with us shortly and on mute. Sorry, Prof, you are still muted.
Okay. Thank you. So the participants, will they be available in sizable number? Will they be reachable? Are they the one that are willing to respond to your questionnaire? Many people don't give a thought on this before they start. And when they now get to that stage, their research is aborted. So there are so many issues you have to give due consideration, due thought about before you start at all. And it must reflect right from the beginning, from the topic. I am not just a project supervisor. I am also a reviewer and assessor. We see a lot of problems from the quality of what our people are submitting. And I know that all of you, I'm very happy. It is about the first time I'm getting this number of participation in a class. That's huge. So I'm happy this message is getting across. Even if you don't know some of these things, ask questions. Ask questions. There are one or two people around who can put you through. We have a lot of good graduate students, PhD students who have not finished or are about to finish, who can help with some of these things. Set it right before you start. And then the research, point number 9, the research must indicate the setting. The setting can be an industry, it can be just one single organization, it can be a region, market region, it can be a city, it can be a zone or a senatorial district in Nigeria. You must indicate the scope. The scope of the study is very important. The setting and the participant must be known before you start. And of course, the population is very important, and that's the setting. The setting and the population. The setting and the population. So the 10th one, the last but not the least, the 10th one, which is the last but not the least, is that the research topic must be novel, must be novel. It must be something unique, something new, something inspiring. Something inspiring. Something that shows a sign of, oh, wow, this is. It doesn't have to be an entirely new idea, but it can be an old idea that you are looking at in a newer perspective. But it must be novel. It must be novel. And it must contribute to humanity. That's the meaning of novelty. It must add to societal value. Must be novel. All right, these 10 points are sacrosanct, failing one, failing all. And these are the things that I work on together with my students before they start. And then I move on to teach them how to search the literature. I hope and I pray God will give me the grace to include searching the literature in our meeting tomorrow. How to search the literature. There are literatures and there are literatures. If one does not teach you the techniques of searching the literature, you might just not be doing anything significant, anything inspiring. And that is not the motive behind your project writing. In those days when things were still right with us, a lot of master students contribute meaningfully to national development from their projects, from their research writing. What is baffling are even in these days now that we have technology to it to advance our search for knowledge, search for literature, we are not showing interest anymore. I've seen students submit project and come to panel without knowing what is in their project. And that was why I started the class the way I started it. Let me take time to read off some of my messages from you. Okay. Who is there? Just wait, I'm in a conference. I'll see you after this class. I'll call you. All right, I think if we are cool with those 10 points, then we can then go to the main business of the day. But I will wish that the class ask questions about getting a researchable topic. Getting a researchable topic.
Excuse me, Prof. There's a question that someone asked earlier when you were still introducing getting research topic. And he asked the question, Priye Akiri asked, said, how do you get real observation for research not in line with the industry you work in? I'll ask it again.
Oh,
he said, how do
I
you
understand.
get
I've seen the question, Seth. I was
sir.
actually scrolling. Priye Akiri.
Yes, sir.
Let me respond to your question. You don't have to necessarily do your research in the industry where you work. Observation comes through inspirations. Observation comes through. So if you work in the banking sector and you observe a problem in the manufacturing sector, it just behoves you to sneak time to talk to one or two people in the manufacturing sector and sharpen your observation by asking or discussing your idea with one or two people, not necessarily in the class, maybe in the industry. And then that gives you more confidence about the research instinct or the research idea that is coming to you. That is not too difficult. It's something to do. Any other question? I was just scrolling through the questions. Priya, are you good with that? Priya, is that clear?
Yeah, yes, sir. He said it's fine. We also want to take one more question from Sandra. Sandra, and him. Then afterwards you can continue, sir.
Okay, thanks. Sandra,
ahead,
let's
Sandra.
have your question.
Okay, sir. Thank you for this opportunity. So I wanted to ask a quick question.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
When you mentioned the variable being able to be having the requirement to be measurable,
yes,
you said something about measuring it through 5 Likert points or 6 Likert points, something
or
like
4
that.
or 7, yes.
Is that like a 2? Because I didn't get what that meant.
You know, let me throw more light on that. You must know what a conceptual definition is. That is theoretical definition in the literature. How, say, commitment have been defined. Are you with me? Conceptual definition is different from operational definition. So you now translate that conceptual definition to operational definition. Okay. Let's use commitment as my illustration now for clarity. Commitment refers to the extent to which an employee is willing to remain in an organization, agrees with the goals and objectives of the organization, and is willing to exert energy to achieve those goals. That's commitment. Are you with me? Now, if you want to transform that to operational definition, the operational definition will now be a set of question items that if you ask some employees in an organization, their responses will show you whether they are committed or they are not committed. The question will now read, I do my work with enthusiasm. You can read that on strongly disagree, agree, strongly agree. So a set of questions that tap commitment, that show who is actually committed, is the operational interpretation of the conceptual definition. When you now put that in a questionnaire item and give it to a set of employees and they respond, then you can gauge which employee is committed, which employee is not committed. On the aggregate, what is the overall level of commitment in the organization, and what is the overall level of low commitment in the organization? All of that you can get. You must be able to do that very well for your research to make sense. Is that clear? Are you still with us? Sandra.
Yes, sir. Sorry, I wasn't able to unmute myself. Very clear, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, gentlemen, I hope I can go on.
Yes, sir, I think you should go ahead. We'll take the other questions by the end of the class.
All right, thank you. All right, we've talked about why it is important to be involved in research, because it is your dear country. You must be able to make meaningful contribution to its growth, to its development. And then, where does the research idea comes from? You must be a keen observer. You must show genuine interest in problem. You must learn how to identify problem. You must be passionate about solving problems. And then what are the key attributes of a researchable topic? Because any problem you identify, you must be able to structure it around a title. And the title must meet some important requirements. And I think those things are very, very essential. Very, very exceptionally essential to our understanding of research or doing practical research. So henceforth now, I want to make the remaining discussion as hands-on as possible. As hands-on as possible. Let's go to the material I sent to the class, which I hope by now everybody have it. Everybody have it in the group. I sent the research proposal outline, the format. What I normally do with my students and why they do a good job is that I will now take the outline of the research proposal and put them through up to the proposal. Because I will know once you have a good proposal and you have your research instrument, the rest is just a walkover. And if you meet any of these students in the past, you can spend 2 months, 3 months on your proposal. By the time you are done and you collect your data, you cannot spend 2 weeks with me because you are good to go. So the usual journey is to put through the initial. And this initial, they can be challenging for those who have not been in quote, largely introduced to research before. And you don't compare such students with those who just copy something and they have dropped. I know people who write project in one day. I know people who write project in 1 week. So everybody has to follow his own mind. What the conscience tells him is right. So there is not even a basis for comparison. There is not even a basis for comparison. I may not be popular, but I have good followers, committed followers. So, are you there with the outline of the research proposal now? I will stop share and share it with you from my end here. But I hope you all have it. I deliberately share it for you so that it serves as a guide to the rest of our discussion. Okay.
Just for clarity, the document that you shared, did you recently share it with somebody? No.
All right. Can you all see the proposal guide?
Yes, we can, Prof. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So we run through this. We will not be able to finish this today, and we continue from there tomorrow. So if you are following the technique that I've used now, I've done some initial speed work and all that. All right, we are going to writing the project proper. Or I will now, because the approach I'm using is that I have just 2 meetings with you. And the meetings, I should be able to touch on those things that can make you comfortable with your work, comfortable with writing your project. You can see the way we have gone. Now you can try your hands on attempting some researchable topic, looking at those 10 issues that you must be able to identify your variables, you must be able to identify, you must be able to operationalize, you must be able to measure, you must be able to use those benchmark, those criteria to check whether the topic you are. Yeah, research can be very frustrating if the topic you are working with ab initio doesn't make sense. I'm bridging the gap between helping you to know how to search the literature and doing review of literature. I will merge the two together. So for the rest of today, I have just about 23 minutes. I wish it's okay. 23 minutes, 30 minutes maximum thereabout to talk about introduction, chapter 1. And
sorry,
I know.
Sorry, Prof, for interrupting. Sorry, sir. I think you have just about 15 minutes more because we still have 10 minutes for question and answer. Then the
no problem.
closing remark. Thank you, sir.
Okay, no problem. Let's look at introduction. The introduction is made up of background to the study. That introduction is actually the chapter title, and students often confuse it. And the introduction means you are introducing the entire thesis in that chapter. And of course, background to the study, statement of the problem, aims and objective of the study, research questions, research hypothesis, significance of the study, scope and delimitation, then operational definition of terms. I'll quickly run through that. Background to the study entails providing the general introduction to the research idea. General introduction to the research idea, including clarifying the meaning of your title, because some title they look, the way they are may not be so clear. So you have the opportunity to now reinterpret the title clearly for your reader. Providing the rationale for the study, why you are interested in the study, how the idea came. Explaining the key concept in the title, starting from your DV. I told you your title, you must know which one is your DV, which one is your IV. Now, the problem we have during project defense is that you will see students, they will just start from the IV and they will spend a whole lot of time and space on explaining the IV and leave the DV, which is the actual study. Your DV is the real focus of the study, not the other IVs. So your problem is located in your DV, and your DV is the focus, and your study is focusing on a problem. So I'm linking the three so that you can know how important it is. Yes, you will talk about your IVs at some point, but that is not the first thing to start discussing. You start with the focus of the study, which is your DV. So using the example I used earlier on, either engagement or commitment. Okay. Engagement is a very important concept. It is important that employees in an organization are engaged and all that. Then you start explaining what engagement means. How has several authors explained engagement? Which one engagement definition are you more comfortable with in this study? Or you have your own definition of what engagement means within the context of this study. All of that, you find it in introduction. Then you now bring in what will happen if engagement is not addressed in an organization and all that, is to just excite and prepare the mind of your audience to the problem you are going to be addressing. And of course, thereby you tie your IVs to that. How can the climate of an organization affect the level of employee commitment? Those are still background introduction and all that, and all that, and all that, and all that. And then you wrap it up. Then you now say, what is organizational climate? And then you conclude that organizational climate has many elements, but a few of these elements will be used to investigate how it affects the level of commitment of employee and all that. All those are introduction or introductory background statement. Statement of the problem is the next. Now, it is very important for me to let you know that student model up project writing, even those who are trying to write by themselves, the few that are trying to write by themselves, they don't know how to organize their ideas. They use what can be relevant in the problem statement. They stay it in background. And what should come up in a background statement, they keep it to some other places. So project requires you to organize your thought, to plan your thought, to make sure your ideas are systematically marshaled and coordinated. So after the general background, or let me say, at the end of the background, we have an idea of what your study is all about. We have an idea of what is your key focus. We have an idea why you are doing the study. We have an idea that you know the meaning of the construct and you communicated that clearly to your readers. And then you know how your IVs may have some influence on your DV and all that. And then you also define the IVs clearly and why it is important and all that. When you get to problem statement, it is a very technical section. Without a problem, there is no study. You must clearly define the problem. You must clearly explain the problem. So I tell my student, there are 3 components of a good problem statement. 3 components of a good problem statement. 3 components. The first one is declaring the problem. The second one is specifying signs and symptoms of the problem. Declaring the problem, specifying signs and symptoms of the problem. And the third one is interrogating the problem. Interrogating the problem. Interrogating the problem. Sometimes students don't have a clear idea that their problem statement should contain these 3 sections. You don't have to label them as heading. You just put them in paragraph form, because project writing requires that you strictly stick to the sections. Don't create any other unnecessary sections. You can say everything you want to say just by delineating it with a paragraph. 1.2 should not be 1.2.1, 1.2.2, So you can say 3 things there without numbering. You just put them in paragraphs and sections. So your first 3 paragraphs in problem statement may be showing the problem. And the next 3 paragraphs is showing signs and symptoms of the problem. And then the next 6 paragraphs is showing your interrogation, paragraph by paragraph, using each of your IV to interrogate the DV, paragraph by paragraph, and explaining that. All right, so you need to know that 3 distinct sections, and you must also know that the problem statement is very sacrosanct to research. Without a good problem statement, no research. If I don't know the problem you are trying to solve, there is no reason for me to continue to read the study. So the problem statement is very important. All right, problem declaration quickly. I'll give an example. Observation by the researcher and further preliminary investigations indicate that some employees of company XYZ are not committed. As a result, the organization experiences poor performance and then loss of revenue and then a threat to their the competitor. They are becoming at risk to their competitor and other. You are showing the problem exists. Then the question someone will ask, how do you know they are not committed? Then you now begin to see signs and symptoms that can show us convincingly that, oh, if somebody shows these signs and symptoms, truly they are not committed. Maybe they complete assignment late and they don't finish their work to schedule and they complain, they do this, they come late and that. You can show signs and symptoms that will buttress that a problem exists. So the essence of discussing signs and symptoms of the problem is to further convince and elucidate the existence of the problem. And then you must make sure that those signs and symptoms are things that you can observe. You can observe among employees. Now, I used to emphasize, don't do research by proxy and don't do research in absentia. A researcher is a practical observer. You need to visit the organization or talk to employees in the organization and affirm the existence of these problems and these signs and symptoms. Don't be abstract. Don't be imaginative. Feel it for yourself. You have to feel it and create 1 or 2 times to interact with the study setting, to interact with the participant, to interact with the employees so that you can feel the problem directly. And then the IVs. The IVs must also be implicating the problem. It must be implicating the problem. And then you now use each of your IV to interrogate. We know employees are not engaged, but we don't know the extent to which it is as a result of inadequate welfare. Therefore, research is needed to investigate the extent to which welfare influence employee commitment in access bank. Permit me to use that as an illustration. And you must make a distinction between stating the problem, specifying signs and symptoms, and interrogating. The last sentence is actually an interrogating statement. We know there is problem of low engagement, but we don't know the extent. Therefore, research is needed to investigate the extent to which engagement is affected by welfare. And once you do your interrogation very well with each of your IV interrogating your DV, once you do that very well, what you are going to discover is that as you are writing your interrogation statement, you have laid a robust foundation for your objectives, for your research questions, and for your hypothesis. So you just summarize your interrogation segment of your problem statement to research objectives, research questions. It's like auto-generated once you write your problem statement very well. So tomorrow, if time permits, I will talk a little bit about how to develop hypothesis, what is a hypothesis looking like. But today, to finish section 1, significance of the study. Why is this study important? That segment allows you to market yourself and market the study. And what you simply do there is you ask yourself the question, this study that I'm working on, if I ended it, who will benefit? Who are the respective stakeholders that will benefit from this study? And in what way? So the research doesn't necessarily have to stay on the shelf. Academia will benefit, managers will benefit, employee will benefit, and so on. And several stakeholders, you state who will benefit and how it will benefit them. Scope. I talked about scope when I was addressing the study. How far you intend to go and what you will not be bothered with. Delimitation. If you don't state your scope and delimitation very well, your audience will give it a different interpretation. So you must say how far you want to go and what you will not be involved with and why. Scope and delimitation. And of course, all the key variables in your title and a few other related variables, you must operationalize them. That's why we call it operational definition. And that is where you will show the public or your audience how you intend to transform those variables to measurable elements when you get to the industry, when you get to the participant. So those are the issues at stake in section 1, chapter 1, which is introduction, general introduction to the study. So at the end of the introduction, somebody have a clear idea of the problem, of the nature of the study, the focus and the motivation for the study, what will happen if the study is not addressed, then the problem that you want to address and what you will not address, the key objectives. For instance, let me let you know that your objectives is like when you are setting questions for yourselves. It is your objective I will use to evaluate your chapter 4 and chapter 5. So at the end of the day, I'm going to be looking at your 4 and 5 and see whether those objectives you claim that you will achieve has been cleverly and clearly achieved at the end of the thesis. So it's very important. It is very important. And chapter 1 is so key. When chapter 1 is not good enough, then the entire study will be affected. I think I want to rest my case here. Tomorrow, by the grace of God, we'll start promptly on time. I'll be here before time. And then we will cover chapter 3, chapter 2, and some other important thing. And once the proposal is well done, your chapter 4 and 5 is given. Your chapter 4 and 5 is given. All right, I want to take a break here today and get your reactions and get your responses. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much,
Thank you so
Prof. We
much, sir.
appreciate you.
Okay.
Yes, we appreciate you for the wonderful and excellent presentation. I mean, many of us, this is an eye-opener to us, and so much have been learned. We'll just take a few questions and a few reactions. Maybe we already have 2 hands that are up, but I'll just like to read one question from the chat box. Then maybe we'll take one live response or live question. Then tomorrow, because of time, tomorrow we can take the other one. So please, for those who are raising up their hands, in case you are not called on, please, we appeal that you can write your question down. Then we promise you your question will be the first to be attended for tomorrow. But because we really need to go, we are actually working with time. So one of the chat questions, Wamaka Ezike asked a question. She said, what are the key tips on selecting project research topics so as to enable students finish at the stipulated time or the project? Then she added, aside from variable operationalization and measurability. So she just wanted to know what are the key tips on selecting project research topics so as to enable students finish at the stipulated time of the project.
Okay. One of the most important things is that you must be very interested, you must be passionate. It must be a topic that interests you. The second one is that you must have relevant materials. And tomorrow I will link you to literature, relevant materials, searching relevant materials, making sure your relevance are up to date. If your literature are not up to date, chances are high that you will be doing what somebody has done better, and you will not be contributing anything to knowledge. And I think that question speaks more to tomorrow's issue. I will add it. For today, what is important are those things we have addressed, because at the onset, there are some basic requirements you have made sure is embedded in your project topic so that you can have a smooth ride, a smooth journey. All right. There is one Oyeleke Miriam there.
Yes,
Miriam.
Oyeleke, you've been unmuted. Yeah. Please ask your question. Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Morning,
thank you very much for the wealth of knowledge you've just shared with us. We really appreciate, sir. So, my questions go to us. When we're talking about the statement of problem,
yes.
While you were talking, you said without the problem, there cannot be research. So, yes. In a case where you have to do some literature review, and now you have to come up with your statement of problem, is your statement of problem supposed to be the problem that you are having in an organization as a case study, or you're supposed to use existing problems from literature review to cover your statement of problem?
A existing problem from literature review does not come in. Okay. But I will tell you where they merge.
So we cannot reference anybody who has done anything around that area, because this problem has to be individual problem that's currently being faced, not a problem that has been faced.
Thank you for this brilliant question. We cannot absolutely rule you out of referencing, but your referencing should not be relating to a problem. Your referencing should be relating to a gap that has not been filled by previous scholar. So scholar did this, but did not do this. Among what he did not do that still exists as a problem. You see, you are crisscrossing between real life and inside literature. The most important thing to know that your problem should be original as experienced in the company or industry that you are studying.
Thank you, sir.
And you just use a little bit of literature and gap to show that similar problem has not been addressed to buttress it. So we insist that your problem statement should be as original as possible with minimal references. The references are to show gaps. Somebody did this but did not address this. Somebody did this, found this, but did not address this. And that provides a justification for your studying the problem as seen in the study setting of your interest that you are studying.
Thank you, sir. That's one question. My second question is, when we are trying
Thank you for the very intelligent question.
Thank you, sir. My second question is, when we are trying to draw a model, for example, if we have a topic that says that customer-centric innovation in service delivery, a tool for gaining and sustaining competitive advantage in service-based industry, are we supposed to try and regenerate a new model, or we go with existing model, for example, maybe using a Porter's 5, SWOT, and other types of analysis? Are we supposed, as research students, try to create a new model, or just follow up with what is already going on and just build on it?
Yes and no. Okay. Yes and no. You can show existing model to discuss. This is what people have been doing. But you can do an entirely new model that speaks to what you are doing that nobody has done before to show that you are actually contributing to knowledge. And for me, the latter is most preferable.
Thank you very much, sir. Very clear, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Patricia,
right, thank you so much.
Please.
Thank you so much, Miriam, and thank you, Prof. We'll just take one last question from the chat. I think Priye is raising up his hands, but
no, it was Patricia. It was Patricia Joy that was raising.
I can't see Patricia here anymore. So
yeah, I called her. I called her.
I called her. So we can't wait for her because of time. She isn't.
Because
her hands
of
are not
time,
up
yeah.
anymore. So I assume she has moved on. Okay, I'll just take one question from Priye. Rather than allow him to speak, he has already written down the question. I believe perhaps that's the same thing he wants to ask. So he said, I would like you to talk about the research question. What is the maximum questions to have? Prof, if you could help us answer that in just 30 seconds, that would be very great. Thank you, sir.
Research question could be 5, could be 6, could be 12, could be 10. And that will be clear tomorrow because I intend to demonstrate some of these things. Possibly show you a typical conceptual framework and now that dovetail into research question and research hypothesis and all that. So it depends on your scope. For instance, I need to do further clarification. If you have 2 DVs, just like I said, organizational climate, how does it affect employee job satisfaction and their level of engagement? Already I have two DVs, engagement and job satisfaction. So my 4 or 5 IVs will first test job satisfaction and then test engagement. So 4 or 5 IV on job satisfaction will give me 4 objectives or 5 objectives, 5 research questions or 4 research questions. Then I go back, the same with test engagement. That will give me, so you can have, if you have one DV, you can have 5 research questions, If you have 2 DV, you have 10. That is the way it works. That you will see clearly tomorrow when I'm demonstrating the conceptual framework.
Okay, sir. Thank you so very much for your in-depth conversation with us about research and project writing. We have one last question from our president of the MBA. I just want to call him to ask his question.
Okay.
So, Mr. George, can you unmute?
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate the time with us. Yeah. Please, though I've already thrown the question in chat box that the practical experience I have when I visited an hospital, and it happened to be a public hospital of this kind. So I realized that there is poor management in terms of queue system and delay process on how they attend to patients. So something came to my mind that this would be a very good research topic to address.
Okay.
So I decided to make it one of my research topics that I presented to my project supervisor, but it was declined for the fact that, because I quoted it, I said, queue management system, and its impact on effective productivity on patients' work life in the society, and the case study of last week. But it was rejected that I am not a production management student, that queue management system is for production students. So I want to get clarity.
I was going to.
Am I limited to? Yes. Am I limited to a particular topic to research upon, regardless of the specialization that I'm undertaking?
Several times I have met MBA students during defense. It's unfortunate now that they have stopped your defense, even though a lot of you are happy about it. It's not the best. It's not the best. We keep bastardizing, we keep watering down some of the standards. A lot of correction that we do if you were able to do defense. Well, let me respond to your question directly and then the general implication. If you are doing a research, it is important that your research should be domiciled within your area of specialization. We have seen people who get research up to a point, and then the PG school for the PhD student anyway, and you need to learn this ahead of time because of those of you who forge ahead. The PG school realized, this topic, what the person has said, it does not have absolute expertise in that area. They will now go and bring another expert from another faculty. It is better you allow your topic and to domicile within your area of expertise. For instance, even though you are in business, if you are not in production or operations research, you cannot expertly or excellently address a queue problem. Some are so technical that it is just domiciled within a particular area. That is why that man declined that topic, and his decision is very right. Thank you.
Okay. I hope that answers the question, but we are very thankful for your time, Prof. We are also looking forward to tomorrow's session. There's been so much that has been learned today. I took a lot of notes about how to start my research. I cannot wait to learn more tomorrow. And it's never too late to actually start learning, even though I'm just in year 1, but it's never too late to start learning. So I have good heads up for preparation. I thank you again I thank you once more for your time, for your effort, your contribution, and your guidance. And hopefully tomorrow we'll be on track with time.
Okay.
So that we can make the best use of it tomorrow. So thank you so much, sir.
What time is our meeting tomorrow?
4 p.m.
Thank you. See you then. By God's grace, I'll be available
sir.
for time. Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for your audience.
Thank you, Prof.
Okay.
We appreciate you.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you so much everyone for joining today. While we still wait for Prof to stop sharing, want to thank some of our sponsors for today's seminar and just generally for the seminar preparation all through. I'm just going to quickly share a slide that reflects some of our sponsors for today's event, today's seminar. Okay, so we quickly like to thank Jobberman. Jobberman has, through Chibuzo Peter, supported us with 100,000 naira. And Jobberman connects job seekers with career opportunities. They also help admission support, past questions, and more. You can check them out on their website, jobberniger.com. Would also like to thank, just a moment, please. I would also like to thank Alpha D Rock. Alpha D Rock is owned by Okeowo Kayode Ayodeji. He's in year 2, stream 2. Thank you so much for the banners, the corporate printing and business cards that we've used for promotional activities for our seminar. I'd also like to thank Before Studio, year 2, stream 2, stream 3, and also IK or IK Motions for also supporting us financially for the success of this MBA webinars, seminar series, not webinar. We also enjoin sponsors to also help to facilitate, the Zoom accounts, the sharing, and also for promotional activities, and also to enrich the quality of our speakers at this event. You can support the MBA Students Association through the general account numbers displayed on our slide. We hope today was very educative for each and every one of us. We've learned 1 and 2 and more, and that we are able to learn more as well within the course of our seminar series as we go on subsequently. So from me, it's a goodbye. I don't know if Ike has any other thing to say. Ike, I'm muted.
Okay, sorry. I just want to say thank you again to everyone, and thank you, Chinelo, also for being a fantastic co-host. We couldn't have done this better without you. Thank you to everyone who have stayed till this time. I know you might have had other things you want to do, but you still stayed just to gain this knowledge. And trust me, there's no knowledge that has been wasted. And we are not just ending the session. Remember, Prof is going to be here tomorrow again by 4 p.m. We started exactly 10 a.m. this morning, and tomorrow we are starting 4 p.m. to continue from what Prof has where Prof has started. And if you followed Prof carefully in today's series, you'll realize that there are so many things he has promised for tomorrow. And trust me, tomorrow is the bomb. Tomorrow is the big deal. You don't want to miss out for tomorrow. So I encourage you, whatever you are doing, put your calendars, put it in your timeline, set your alarm, 4 p.m. We are here tomorrow again. And trust me, you will have every reason to say, I am happy that I participated in this seminar. Once again, we appreciate every one of you, and God bless you. I'll just yield the microphone to our Vice President, Peter.
All right, thank you so much, IK. We don't have so much time. Ladies and gentlemen, what a powerful section we've had today. On behalf of the MBA Students Association, I want to sincerely thank our guest speaker, Professor Olaoluwa Oluwafemi, for generously sharing his time, insight, and experience with us. He has simplified what many of us found overwhelming, and we are better prepared now to take on our MBA project with confidence. At least we can start with chapter 1. So to all our moderators, the planning team, the technical team, and all supporters behind the scene, thank you for your commitment and excellence. And to every participant here today, thank you for showing up. See you tomorrow by 4 p.m. Thank you so much. Do have a blessed day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Engineer Peter.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.